Hi everybody, here we are for the bonus session for my class on gathering greens, winter snow. Don't really remember at the moment what I called it, but the raccoon going through a scene with the first snow of the season falling, and she's gathering holiday greens to distribute to the other animals in the forest. So I thought that for my bonus session we would take a look at a close look at some botanicals. Now, in the main lesson, we do have pine boughs of some sort, and we have holly, and we have some leaves falling from the trees. And I originally wanted to do holly and pine, but I haven't been able so far to find any holly with berries on it, and I think here's something kind of interesting. I was surprised to find out that not all hollies have that spiky leaf. In fact, I would say the majority of them do not. They're smooth-edged leaves. And the hollies have male and female plants, and the males are much more numerous than the females, and only the females have berries, so it's not a given that if you go to the nursery and buy a holly, you're going to get one with berries. So, just a little interesting thing to pass along. But I was still contemplating, well, what do I really want to do for this botanical? And the main purpose is to get you to really closely observe things that you might use in your paintings. And you know, even if they're not the main focus of the painting, they're just in there as kind of supporting actors. Even though you don't, of course, have to have them perfectly representational of a specific species of plant, I think the more that you can add authenticity to the piece, the better off you are within reason. Plus, it's just sort of an interesting study on its own. So anyway, like I said, I was thinking about what I was going to do for that, and this morning I got back from the grocery store, and this beautiful branch of oak was laying in the driveway, and I thought, oh, wow, I could do this one. So with very little preparation, just plunging into it, let's see how it goes. This is, I am told, a shagbark oak. I live in South Central North Carolina near Charlotte. And these are native trees here, and they're quite spectacular. And I have maybe 8 of these huge trees on the property. So the first thing I noticed when I picked up this branch, I turned it over. And look at that. This back, it's flat. All the little branches and the leaves are pointing upwards. And that's quite clear and quite interesting, I think, and clearly a part of the way this tree is going to grow. So I'm tempted to do both a back view and a front view of at least part of this branch. The back, in a way, is more interesting because you get a better view of how the leaves are arranged on the branches and how the branches grow and, quote, branch. And, you know, each species has its own pattern for doing this. So I was looking at this trying to figure out, okay, so what is the pattern? And at first I thought, well, things come in threes, like, and you know, these little, I don't know what you call them, kind of nodules on the, excuse me, branch, I believe are indicative of a year's worth of growth. So I think either this part is a year's worth of growth from last year. And then this year is the rest of it up to here. Now on this particular branch, we only have leaves on this year's growth. I don't know if that's true of all the branches or not. Anyway, it looks to me like we have branchlets, I'll call them that, little side branches that themselves carry the leaves, coming off in pairs from the main branch. And then, of course, the main branch continues on, and in its turn, it will have side branches coming out in the same way. So there's one thing that we think we learn, that the branchlets come in pairs along the main branch. So here's one, here's the main branch. But when I turned over, I thought this was one, but there was a branch or a leaf, probably a branch here, a little branch that fell off. So I can't make it out totally. This one up here also, it looks like we came up, had something growing off, maybe like this, and now we have our two coming close on after that. So that might be a reasonable pattern to assume, that the branch is growing along, it has its growing tip, a side comes off, and then a little further, it's got a pair coming off, and then the tip would look like this, a little branch on its own with its own tip. And each of these side branches seems to conform to that same general pattern. Anyway, so I think what we're probably going to do is, or what we're going to start out doing is, I'm going to think about which part of this I want to show. I can't show the whole thing, I don't think. Maybe I can if I make it small enough, but I want to show part of the back branch. I want to show a leaf, maybe like so. And then perhaps just this tip, the main part of this year's growth coming up more like this as a little side feature. So what I would like to do is to have my whole page composed in some nice way. So we'll see how that works. So let's start with this back. So I'm going to say that here's our first nodule, this, and the second nodule I'm going to have up here. So our branch is curved a little bit to that nodule, and then curved a little bit more. And then we're coming up into what I think is this year's growth. So we're coming up to this, and then we're coming to this branching part for the last part of this year's growth. So this is coming along, this is coming along. Here's our split from year to year. And then at the top here, we have a branchlet coming. This is very thin, almost like just a stalk of a leaf, but a little thicker. And then from the tip, we have a branch pointing down, one coming this way, one coming this way, and then our little fourth one coming up here and interlocking with the others. And then this goes back. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. Yeah. This goes into another branchlet. This one, then this one on this side. And we have a little side thing there. And then our so we're not going to be drawing every single leaf and every single piece. So what we're going to have to do is also rely on some notes. So I want to cut this now so that I'm going to cut it here. So we'll just get rid of that. Come back to it maybe. And I might cut some more also. It's too bad. Everything's so big. But let's see. We want to say this is the division between this year's growth and last year's growth. Last year's growth. This year's growth. I hope you can see the pencil. I'm not so sure that you can. I hope you can. All right, so when I'm looking at this leaf from further down the tip is on top or underneath everything else. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw that first. And notice that one of the lobes is tucked under another lobe. And before we do that, let's look actually at an individual leaf. Where's one that I can get a good... Okay, so each leaf has a top node and then 3 pairs. The nodes are rounded at the tip, but slightly pointed. And then the veins, they are coming off not across from each other, but one slightly below its pair. So we'll take this off. So let's take a look at this leaf. Let's draw this leaf. So we have the little stem, and we have the main vein, which is curving up. It's curved a little bit. And then we have, let's see, 1, 2, maybe in fourths. So a fourth of the way down. Yes, Nikki, I know. So it looks like maybe a fourth of the way down, this lobe is coming off. And it's almost as tall as the whole thing. It's folded, Nikki, it's folded under. And this next indent is not as close to the main stem as the first one was. So we're going to come out like this. And then this one was closer, shorter and narrower, and this is kind of longer. And then it's about, this further indent is about the same distance from the vein as that, but it's opened up a little bit. And then this is curved to get to the end. Now this top one, it's coming up. It's reaching its widest part right about there. And then it's coming over, and this is sticking up, which is kind of hard to show here, but, and we're about the same distance on either side of that vein. And here we have the indentation. Now this one's coming out straighter. There, once again, we have our little point, not a sharp point, a rounded point at the end. Then it flares out, comes back down, and we want to be higher than this one and also farther out. Now this is pretty screwed up here. This next indent's going to be right about there. And this, instead of being nice and pretty, it's folded over. So we come up, we have this fold, and then here we go. Not pretty looking, but the way things are. And then this is coming down like that. So, and that's all kind of crumpled up. Then this bottom one, it's well, this is kind of a line here, so and this is coming up here and coming back in, and I think this will make this a little longer. Nikki wants to draw. Okay, so I think this is pretty nice. Now, I am not saying that this is the way every single leaf is. Oh, and in fact, it looks like we have, here's one that's got four lobes on this side. And the top one is kind of, that's a very interesting leaf. We'll deal with that in a little bit. Okay, so this vein comes off like this. This vein like so. This one all the way down to here. And this one is shorter. This one's lower. This one's lower. Okay, and I can't really, if I turn it over, I can see the veins a little better. There's a couple more down here at the bottom. Now, there, instead of a continuous line and then a branch off of it, we've got, this is more like, these are more like they come together and they branch. And they come together and they branch. And then it becomes less like that the farther down the leaf we go. But this is a little curve and not really a strict angle. So there's our leaf, and we'll take some things off. This is a great eraser, by the way. It's a eraser by Tombow. It's a mono zero elastomer eraser, and look how tiny that tip is. So clean that up a little bit and come back later. All right, now what I want to say is that the lobes, the lobes on the leaf, they're, generally, because we found one that was not true, generally in pairs. The veins in the lobes are staggered. On the main vein. What else do we want to say? That the lobes are rounded. But with a rounded point. I don't know what to call these. Let's see. The lowest what can I call that? Interior curves on lobes, which probably doesn't mean, there's probably a interior curve separating the lobes are staggered from side to side. And we can point there and there. Well, that's not a very good arrow, but okay, the leaves are leathery. And shiny. The winter color medium brown, splotched with green, and the green seems to be mostly on the tips. Okay, so you can see that this is simply an exercise in observation and then recording what I see. And as I said, I'm going to try and make this this whole piece look nice, if I can, in the end. So let's go back to this. And we're painting. We're drawing the back here. So let's come over. Let me make sure you can see this, please. Just a sec. Yes. Okay. So this is, all right, this is my new twig, and this is nothing. So this is fairly thick down here. And it's kind of kind of ribbed. But it's not a woody branch. So this is, well, we'll write that later. Okay. Now this leaf is coming off. It's off the side, but a little towards the front. So the connection there is kind of like so. And then it's coming out. And it's thick. It's thick maybe like that. And I'm going to switch to a 2B pencil, hoping that you can see it better. Generally I don't like to start drawing with a dark pencil because, you know, when you start, you're going to make mistakes. And it's easier to erase something thinner. So there's about the half, quarter. So half, quarter. Get rid of this. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. And this top one's kind of, and the lobes on the top, these are really quite evenly spaced with each other. So in the top little thing it's not really indent, it's just curved down. And this is mainly like that, coming to not the halfway point, but pretty narrow, unlike that other one. And then we're turning, and this next one's coming down to here, also pretty narrow. So it's coming up, and then it's kind of curving away, going to the pointy tip, coming back, coming in. Kind of a interesting little thingy there. Not a thingy, but I think the edge is straight, but it's kind of rippled, so that's why it's looking that way. And then this one, well, it's got a, there we go. All right, now the other side, it's coming off actually from the same spot. And this is going to be across from there. Now this one is tucked under, but we'll draw it like it's not. Or we'll just indicate there. That's where the lobe is. Then this one comes up pretty far. Let's do this one first. This one's pretty much equal with the other, with these other two, the middle one and the one on the other side. And then this comes down, and these aren't staggered like on that one. So here we're seeing and actually this all right, and but the veins are staggered. The veins are staggered, and like before, they are kind of curving into each other. And then this like so. So you see this line, the main vein, isn't really perfectly straight with everything coming off the sides. It's forking nicely and then proceeding up. That seems to be more pronounced at the tip of the leaf than further towards the base. So then we come back, and this one is going to be mostly like that. This one comes off a little lower. This one, like so. And then there's two more. And on the back here we can see that there really are many more veins. The veins are much more prominent on the back than on the front, which is interesting. So if we're if we're drawing the front of the leaf, we don't have to worry about so many of the little veins. Okay, so that's pretty nice. Now I'm gonna run out of room. All right, so be it. So this leaf, this one comes like so, like so. Wait a minute now. This, okay, the problem I have here is that I had this more like that. Like that. And we've got, now this is an interesting leaf with, I don't know what it's trying to do on the top here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lobes there. 1, 2, 3, 4 there. I can't, but I think this top one really is just a split on the, and fortunately I can't really show it because it's too far up, but half, let's say half is there, half. All right, so just a little bit above half we have this going out, and we have that coming there. This is too narrow. No, that's okay. This is too narrow. And then our next lobe is right about here. This one. So we're coming pretty close to that. Then we're taking a curve. Gonna come over this. Over that. Okay. This one up here, got it a little tall, and it's actually curving down. curving like that. Like so. And then this is covered. All right. So, let's take a break. It's a little bit taxing. Yeah, let's take a break for a little bit and then we'll come back.